I sat in that courtroom wearing a dress I borrowed from my neighbor because I couldn't afford to buy one. My hands were shaking, my throat was dry, and across from me, my husband, the man I gave 10 years of my life to, sat there in an expensive suit, looking at me like I was a stranger, like I was the enemy. His lawyer had a stack of papers. Evidence, he called it. Evidence that I was unstable. Evidence that I was unfit. Evidence that I shouldn't be allowed to raise my own son, my baby, the child I carried for 9 months, the child I stayed awake with through fevers and nightmares, the child I sang to sleep every single night. The judge was listening to them, nodding, taking notes, and I felt my world collapsing. I felt like I was drowning, and no one could see me going under. And then, my son, my 8-year-old baby, he stood up. He walked toward the judge, and he whispered something I couldn't hear, something that made the entire courtroom go silent. The lawyers stopped talking. My husband's face went pale, and the judge looked at me with different eyes. But let me take you back, bestie. Let me take you back to the beginning. Because to understand how I ended up in that courtroom, fighting for my child, fighting for my life, you need to know who I was before everything fell apart. Besties, before I continue, please comment the country you're watching from and subscribe so I can bring you more real-life stories like this. Your support means everything to me. My name is Adaora, and I used to believe that marriage was my safe place. I used to believe that if you loved someone hard enough, if you sacrificed enough, if you gave enough, they would love you back the same way. I was wrong. I grew up watching my mother suffer in silence. My father was a good man, but he was a hard man. He didn't believe in soft words or gentle touches. He believed in discipline, in control, in his way or no way. And my mother, she bent herself into shapes just to keep the peace. She swallowed her voice, she swallowed her dreams, she swallowed herself. And I promised myself I would never be like her. I promised myself I would marry a different kind of man. A kind man, a gentle man, a man who would see me. When I met my husband, I thought I had found him. His name was Chidi. And when we first met, he was everything I thought I needed. He was charming. He was respectful. He opened doors for me. He called when he said he would. He remembered little things I told him. He made me feel special. He made me feel seen. Have you ever loved someone so deeply you forgot yourself? Have you ever stayed because you hoped they would change? Comment yes if you've ever felt that way. Because I need you to know you're not alone. We got married after 2 years of dating. It was a small wedding. My family was there. His family was there. And everyone said we looked perfect together. Everyone said we were blessed. Everyone said I was lucky to have found a man like him. And for the first year, maybe even 2, I believed them. I believed I was lucky. I believed I was blessed. Because Chidi was good to me. He provided. He worked hard. He came home every night. He didn't drink. He didn't gamble. He didn't hit me. And I thought, this is what a good marriage looks like. But then, small things started to change. Small things I told myself didn't matter. Small things I explained away because I didn't want to be the kind of wife who complains. The kind of wife who nags. The kind of wife who doesn't appreciate what she has. He started coming home later. Not drunk. Not smelling of another woman. Just later. He would say he had work. He would say traffic was bad. He would say his boss needed him to finish something. And I would believe him, because why wouldn't I? He started talking to me less. At first, I thought maybe he was stressed, maybe work was hard, maybe he just needed space, so I gave him space. I stopped asking how his day was. I stopped trying to start conversations. I stopped trying to make him laugh. Because every time I tried, he would look at me with this tired expression, like I was exhausting him, like I was too much. And slowly, I started to shrink. I started to make myself smaller, quieter, less. I stopped singing in the kitchen. I stopped calling my friends. I stopped wearing bright colors. I just tried to be what he needed me to be, invisible. Our son was born in our 3rd year of marriage. His name is Somto. It means follow me. And from the moment I held him, I knew. I knew I would do anything for him. I knew I would protect him. I knew I would fight for him. Even if I couldn't fight for myself. Chidi was happy when Somto was born. For a while. He was the man I married again. He would come home early. He would hold the baby. He would smile at me. And I thought, maybe this is what we needed. Maybe a child would bring us back together. But it didn't last. After a few months, he went back to being distant, back to being cold, back to treating me like I was a burden he had to carry. I stayed home to take care of Somto. Chidi wanted it that way. He said a mother should be with her child. He said it was better for the baby. He said we didn't need my income anyway, and I agreed. Because I wanted to be a good mother. I wanted to do what was best for my son. But what I didn't realize, bestie, what I didn't see, was that he was slowly taking away my independence. Slowly taking away my voice. Slowly taking away my power. He put all our accounts in his name. He said it was easier that way. He said it was for tax purposes. He said I didn't need to worry about money, that he would take care of everything. And I trusted him, because he was my husband, because I thought we were a team. He started controlling what I spent. At first, it was small. He would ask why I bought a particular thing. He would say we needed to save. He would say I was being wasteful, and I started asking for permission to buy groceries, permission to buy clothes for Somto, permission to buy anything. And slowly, I stopped asking. Because every time I did, it turned into an argument. Every time I did, he made me feel guilty, like I was taking advantage of him, like I was using him, like I didn't appreciate his hard work. Bestie, have you ever felt trapped in your own home? Have you ever felt like a prisoner in your own marriage? Drop a heart if you understand what I'm talking about. Then one night, everything shifted. Chidi came home late, later than usual. And when he walked in, I smelled it. Perfume. Not mine. Not anything I owned. Something floral, something expensive, something that didn't belong in our house. I asked him about it. Calmly. Gently. I said, "You smell like perfume." And he looked at me like I was crazy. He said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You're imagining things." He said, "Are you accusing me of something?" And just like that, it became my fault, my insecurity, my problem. He turned it around so fast I didn't even realize what was happening. He made me apologize. He made me feel like I was the one who did something wrong. And I believed him, because I wanted to believe him. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. I just didn't want to face it. Things got worse after that night. He became more secretive. He started putting passwords on his phone. He started taking calls in the other room. He started leaving the house on weekends, saying he had meetings, business meetings, important meetings, meetings I couldn't come to. And I started feeling like a ghost in my own marriage. Like I was there, but not really there. Like I was existing, but not living. One day, I was cleaning his car. I wasn't snooping. I was just cleaning. Somto had spilled juice in the back seat. And I was wiping it up. And that's when I saw it. In the trunk, a small gift bag, pink, with a card attached. My hands were shaking when I picked it up. I knew I shouldn't open it. I knew it wasn't for me. But I couldn't stop myself. I opened the card. And it said, "To my moonlight, happy 6 months, can't wait to see you tonight." 6 months. He had been seeing someone for 6 months, while I was at home raising our son, while I was cooking his meals, while I was washing his clothes, while I was praying for our marriage. He was building a life with someone else. I sat in that car, and I cried. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. I cried until my chest hurt. I cried until I had no tears left. And then I went back inside, and I didn't say anything, because I didn't know what to say, because I was afraid. Afraid of what would happen if I confronted him. Afraid of losing the only stability I had. Afraid of being alone. Bestie, what would you do if you found something like that? Would you confront him? Would you leave? Would you stay silent? Tell me in the comments because I need to know if I was wrong for staying quiet. Please like this video. It helps the channel grow so I can keep sharing these stories. Stories that hurt, stories that heal. Stories that remind us we're not alone. I stayed quiet for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of pretending everything was fine. 2 weeks of smiling when he came home. 2 weeks of dying inside. And then he called a family meeting. It was a Saturday morning. I was making breakfast, and Chidi walked into the kitchen and said, "We need to talk. Sit down." His voice was cold, detached, like he was talking to a stranger. I sat down, and he placed papers in front of me. "Divorce papers." He said, "I want a divorce." Just like that. No explanation, no apology, no emotion. Just, "I want a divorce." I asked him why. I asked him if it was because of the woman. I asked him if there was anything I could do to fix it. And he looked at me with such disgust, such coldness. And he said, "This isn't about another woman, this is about you. You're unstable, you're paranoid. You're not the woman I married." And then he said the words that broke me. He said, "I don't think you're fit to raise Somto. I'm going to fight for full custody." I felt the room spin. I felt my heart stop. I felt everything I knew, everything I believed, everything I built, crumble. He wasn't just leaving me. He was taking my son. I begged him. I got on my knees and I begged him. I said, "Please don't do this. Please don't take my son. I'll change. I'll be better. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't take my baby." And he looked down at me with pity, not love, not regret, just pity. And he said, "It's already done. My lawyer has everything we need." That's when I realized this wasn't a sudden decision, this was planned. He had been planning this for months, while I was loving him, while I was trusting him, while I was believing in us. He was building a case against me. I found out later, much later, that his sister helped him. His sister, who I treated like my own sister. His sister, who I cooked for. His sister, who I confided in. She helped him gather evidence, fake evidence, photos that were staged, reports that were fabricated, testimonies that were lies. They painted me as a neglectful mother, a mentally unstable woman, a danger to my own child. And I had no idea until it was almost too late. Somto started acting different after that day. He became quiet. He stopped playing. He stopped laughing. He would sit in his room for hours, just staring at nothing. And when I asked him what was wrong, he would say, "Nothing, Mummy." But I knew something was happening. He started hiding his tablet. He would take it everywhere, even to the bathroom. And when I asked to see it, he would say, "Daddy said it's private. Daddy said I shouldn't show you." And I felt a chill. Because what was Chidi telling our son? What was he making him believe? What was he preparing him for? I went to a legal aid office. I had no money for a lawyer. Chidi had frozen all the accounts. I had nothing. But I had to try. I had to fight. The lawyer I met was an older woman. Her name was Mrs. Nwosu. She had kind eyes, tired eyes, eyes that had seen too much pain. She listened to my story, and then she said, "Your husband is preparing for war, and if you don't fight, he will win." She showed me leaked documents. Documents that showed Chidi had been planning this for 8 months. Documents that showed he had hired a child psychologist to write a fake report about me. Documents that showed he had paid neighbors to lie about me. Documents that showed he wanted me completely erased from Somto's life. I broke down in that office. I broke down in a way I had never broken before. Because I realized the man I loved never existed. The man I married was a stranger. A cold, calculated, cruel stranger. Mrs. Nwosu held my hand and said, "We will fight. We will expose the truth. But you have to be strong. You have to trust me. And you have to trust that the truth will come out." I didn't know if I could believe her, but I had no choice. So I nodded, and I prepared for the fight of my life. Besties, if you're still watching, thank you. Please subscribe so we can keep growing this community. Your support is what keeps me going. The weeks leading up to the court date were the darkest of my life. Chidi moved out. He took most of his things, and he started playing the role of the perfect father. He would pick Somto up from school. He would take him to the park. He would buy him toys. And he would bring him back to me with a smile, saying, "See how happy he is with me?" And Somto, my baby, he started pulling away from me. Not because he didn't love me, but because he was confused. Because his father was poisoning his mind. Because he didn't understand what was happening. One night, Somto came to my room. He was holding his tablet, and he whispered, "Mummy, I'm scared." I held him and I said, "Scared of what, baby?" And he said, "I don't want to choose. I don't want to lose you or Daddy." And my heart shattered, because my baby was being forced to carry a burden no child should carry, a burden I couldn't protect him from. I tried to reassure him. I tried to tell him everything would be okay, but I didn't know if it would be. I didn't know if I would win. I didn't know if I would lose my son forever. The court date arrived. I wore the borrowed dress. I tied my hair back. I wore no makeup because I couldn't afford any. And I walked into that courtroom feeling like I was walking to my own execution. Chidi's lawyer stood up, and he started presenting his case. He showed photos of me looking tired. He called it neglect. He showed videos of me raising my voice at Somto once when he ran into the street. He called it abuse. He brought in witnesses who lied, who said I left Somto alone, who said I didn't feed him properly, who said I was unstable, and the judge listened. And I watched my life being destroyed by lies. Mrs. Nwosu fought back. She presented the truth. She showed bank records proving Chidi cut me off financially. She showed messages proving he planned this. She showed testimonies from real neighbors who said I was a loving mother. But Chidi's lawyer was louder, more polished, more convincing, and I felt myself losing. I felt the judge's eyes turning cold toward me. I felt my son slipping away, and that's when Somto stood up. "Besties, what my son did next changed everything. Please don't go anywhere. Part 2 is coming. And you need to hear what happened in that courtroom. Subscribe so you don't miss it." My son stood up, and for a moment, the entire courtroom went silent. The lawyers stopped talking. Chidi's face went from confident to confused, and the judge looked at my baby with gentle eyes. Somto was shaking. I could see his little hands trembling. He was holding his tablet against his chest like it was a shield. And I wanted to run to him. I wanted to hold him. I wanted to tell him he didn't have to do anything. But I couldn't move. I was frozen. The judge leaned forward and said, "Young man, do you have something you want to say?" And Somto nodded. His voice was so small, so scared. He said, "Yes, Your Honor. I have something I need to show you." Chidi's lawyer immediately stood up. He said, "Your Honor, this is highly irregular. The child has been coached. We object to this." And I felt my stomach drop, because I hadn't coached him. I didn't even know what he wanted to say, but they were already making it seem like I put him up to this. Mrs. Nwosu stood up calmly and said, "Your Honor, the child has the right to speak. If he has evidence, the court should see it. This is about his future, his well-being. We should listen." The judge nodded. She said, "I'll allow it. Young man, come forward." Somto walked slowly toward the judge's bench. Each step felt like forever. I was holding my breath. My heart was pounding so loud I thought everyone could hear it. And when he reached the judge, he whispered something only she could hear. I saw her face change. I saw her eyebrows raise. I saw her lean closer to him. And then she looked at Chidi. And her expression, it was no longer neutral, it was sharp. It was angry. She said, "Bailiff, please set up the screen. We're going to watch something." Chidi stood up. He said, "Your Honor, I don't know what this is, but my son has been manipulated. His mother has been filling his head with lies. This is exactly the kind of behavior we've been talking about." The judge held up her hand. She said, "Mr. Chidi, sit down. I will decide what is and isn't relevant in my courtroom." Somto handed his tablet to the bailiff, and they connected it to the big screen. Everyone could see it now. The lawyers, the witnesses, Chidi, me, everyone. The video started playing, and my heart stopped. It was Somto's room. The camera was hidden, probably propped up on his shelf between his toys. And in the video, Chidi was sitting on Somto's bed, talking to him. But it wasn't a father talking to his son. It was a man coaching a child to lie. Chidi's voice came through the speakers. He said, "Somto, listen to me carefully. When we go to court, the judge is going to ask you questions. And you need to tell her exactly what I'm teaching you to say. Do you understand?" Somto's small voice said, "But Daddy, it's not true." And Chidi said, It doesn't matter if it's true. What matters is that Mummy has been bad, and we need to protect you from her. The courtroom was so quiet, you could hear people breathing. I felt tears streaming down my face. Because my son, my baby, had been carrying this weight alone. He had been forced to choose, forced to lie, forced to betray me. The video continued. Chidi said, "You're going to tell the judge that Mummy left you alone at home many times. You're going to tell her that Mummy didn't feed you. You're going to tell her that Mummy shouted at you and scared you. Can you do that for Daddy?" And Somto, his little voice shaking, said, "But Mummy never did those things." And Chidi's voice got harder. He said, "Somto, if you don't do this, Mummy will take you away from me. Do you want that? Do you want to lose your daddy?" Somto started crying in the video. He said, "No, Daddy, I don't want to lose you." And Chidi said, "Then you know what to do." The video ended, and the courtroom exploded. People were whispering. Chidi's lawyer was standing up trying to object. Chidi himself looked like he'd seen a ghost. His face was pale, his hands were shaking. The judge banged her gavel. She said, "Order. Order in this court." And then she looked directly at Chidi. She said, "Mr. Chidi, did you coach your son to lie in this courtroom?" Chidi stammered. He said, "Your Honor, that video is taken out of context. I was just trying to prepare him. I wasn't telling him to lie." The judge said, "You told a child to say his mother neglected him when she didn't. You told him to say she left him alone when she didn't. You manipulated your own son to win a custody case. That is not preparation. That is perjury. That is abuse." She turned to the bailiff and said, "I want that man escorted out of this courtroom, and I'm ordering an immediate investigation into his conduct. This case is not over, but as of today, I'm granting temporary full custody to the mother." I couldn't breathe. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The bailiff walked toward Chidi. And Chidi, the man who had controlled me for years, the man who had torn my life apart, looked small. He looked terrified. He tried to speak. He said, "Your Honor, please. You don't understand." But the judge cut him off. She said, "I understand perfectly. You used your child as a weapon, and in my courtroom, that is unforgivable." As they escorted him out, Chidi looked at me, and for the first time, I didn't see power in his eyes. I saw fear. I saw regret. I saw a man who had lost everything because of his own cruelty. Somto ran to me. He threw his arms around me and he sobbed. He said, "I'm sorry, Mummy. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to lie. I didn't want to hurt you." And I held him so tight. I held him like I would never let go. I said, "You didn't do anything wrong, baby. You were so brave. You saved us." Mrs. Nwosu came over and hugged both of us. She was crying too. She said, "You did it. You both did it." And I realized we had won. Not just the case, but our freedom, our truth, our life. Besties, drop a heart if you felt that moment with me. Because I need you to know, the truth always comes out, always. The weeks after the court case were strange. I had Somto back, fully, legally, safely. But I was also broken, because even though I won, I had lost so much. I had lost years of my life. I had lost my trust. I had lost the woman I used to be. Chidi's family tried to reach out. His mother called me. She said, "Please, let's talk. He made a mistake. He's sorry." But I didn't answer, because sorry doesn't undo trauma. Sorry doesn't give me back the nights I cried myself to sleep. Sorry doesn't erase the fear I lived in. His sister, the one who helped him, she sent me a message. She said, "I didn't know it would go this far. I thought I was helping my brother, and I wanted to be angry. I wanted to hate her, but I just felt sad. Sad that she chose sides. Sad that she helped destroy me without even questioning if it was right. I blocked them all. Because I realized I didn't owe them anything. Not my forgiveness. Not my time. Not my energy. I owed myself healing. And I owed my son peace." Somto struggled for a while. He had nightmares. He would wake up crying, saying, "Is Daddy coming to take me?" And I would hold him and promise him, "No one is taking you. You're safe. We're safe. I took him to a therapist, a kind woman who specialized in children who had been through trauma. And slowly, he started to smile again. He started to play again. He started to be a child again. One day, he asked me, "Mommy, do you hate Daddy?" And I thought about it. I thought about all the pain, all the lies, all the manipulation. And I said, "No, baby, I don't hate him. I'm just sad for him. Because people who hurt others are usually hurting inside too." I don't know if that was the right answer, but it was the truth. I didn't hate Chidi. I pitied him. Because he destroyed his own family. He lost his son's trust. He lost his reputation. And for what? For control? For pride? For another woman who probably left him the moment the scandal broke. Months passed. I started rebuilding my life. I got a job, a small job at first, working at a bakery. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I earned my own money. I opened my own account. I started feeling like a person again. I made new friends, women who understood, women who had been through their own battles, women who didn't judge me for staying as long as I did, women who celebrated me for leaving when I finally could. I started therapy too, because I realized I had been carrying so much shame, so much guilt, so much fear, and I needed to let it go. I needed to forgive myself for not seeing the signs sooner, for not leaving sooner, for believing him when he said I was the problem. My therapist told me something I'll never forget. She said, "You weren't weak for staying, you were strong for surviving, and when you were ready, you fought, and you won. That's not weakness, that's power." I cried when she said that, because for so long, I thought I was weak. I thought I was stupid. I thought I deserved what happened to me. But I didn't. No one deserves to be manipulated. No one deserves to be controlled. No one deserves to have their reality twisted until they don't know what's true anymore. If you're watching this and you're in a situation like I was, please hear me. It's not your fault. You're not crazy. You're not imagining things. And you're not alone. Please share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. This channel is a safe space for all of us. 1 year after the court case, I got a letter. It was from Chidi. He was asking for visitation rights, supervised visitation. He said he had been in therapy. He said he had changed. He said he wanted to be in Somto's life again. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to say no. Wanted to protect Somto from any possibility of being hurt again. But another part of me knew. Somto deserved to make that choice when he was ready. Not me, not Chidi, him. I talked to Somto about it. I said, "Your dad wants to see you, but only if you want to. And if you don't, that's okay too. This is your choice." Somto thought about it for a long time. And then he said, "I want to see him, but I'm scared." And I said, "I understand, and I'll be right there with you. You're not alone." The first visit was awkward, painful. Chidi cried. He apologized. He said he was sorry for everything. And Somto just sat there. Quiet, watching him. Not angry. Not happy. Just watching. After the visit, I asked Somto how he felt. And he said, "I don't know, Mummy." He said sorry. But sorry doesn't fix what happened. And I was so proud of him. Because my baby understood something it took me years to learn. Words are cheap. Actions matter. Chidi continued the supervised visits. And slowly, very slowly, he started to rebuild some kind of relationship with Somto. Not the relationship they had before. That was gone forever. But something new, something honest. Something where Somto had the power to set boundaries. As for me, I kept healing. I kept growing. I started writing. I started sharing my story. Not for revenge, not for pity, but for connection. Because I knew there were other women out there, sitting in their homes, feeling trapped, feeling alone, feeling like they were going crazy. And I wanted them to know, you're not crazy, you're not alone. And there is a way out. I learned to trust myself again, to trust my instincts, to trust my voice. Because for so long, I had been told I was wrong. I was too sensitive. I was overreacting. I was imagining things. And I believed it. But I wasn't wrong. I was right. I was always right. I learned that love should never make you smaller. Love should never make you question your reality. Love should never make you feel like you're losing your mind. Real love protects you. Real love honors you. Real love sees you. And I learned that leaving isn't failure. Staying in something that's killing you, that's not strength. That's survival. And survival is valid. But so is choosing yourself. So is choosing peace. So is choosing to walk away. Besties, if there's one thing I want you to take from my story, it's this. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you rise from it. You are not your trauma. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are your strength. You are your courage. You are your future. It's been 3 years now since that court case. 3 years since my son whispered to the judge. 3 years since my life changed forever. And I'm not the same woman I was. I'm stronger. I'm wiser. I'm freer. Somto is doing well. He's 11 now. He loves football. He loves drawing. He loves making me laugh. And he knows, deeply knows, that he is loved, that he is safe, that he is enough. Sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet and Somto is asleep, I sit and I think about everything, and I feel grateful, grateful that I survived, grateful that I fought, grateful that I didn't give up. I think about the woman I was, sitting in that courtroom, shaking, terrified, broken. And I want to go back and hug her. I want to tell her, you're going to make it. I know it doesn't feel like it. I know it feels like the world is ending. But you're going to make it. And one day, you're going to help other women make it too. I think about all the women who messaged me after I started sharing my story. Women from Nigeria, from Kenya, from Ghana, from South Africa, from the UK, from the US, from all over the world. Women who said, thank you. Thank you for telling the truth. Thank you for making me feel less alone. And I realized, my pain had purpose, my story had power, my voice mattered. So bestie, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're going through, I want you to know, your pain has purpose, your story has power, your voice matters. Don't let anyone silence you, don't let anyone dim your light, don't let anyone make you believe you're too much or not enough. You are exactly who you're supposed to be, and you are stronger than you know. There were moments I wanted to give up, moments I thought, maybe Chidi is right, maybe I am unstable, maybe I am the problem, maybe I don't deserve my son. But I didn't give up. And you don't have to either. If you're in a marriage or relationship that's breaking you, please know, it's okay to leave. It's okay to choose yourself. It's okay to say, I deserve better. Because you do. You deserve peace. You deserve joy. You deserve love that doesn't hurt. And if you have children, please know, they see more than you think. They feel more than you think. And the best thing you can do for them is show them what strength looks like. What boundaries look like. What self-love looks like. Somto saved me in that courtroom. But I saved him too. I saved him by refusing to give up. By fighting when I had nothing left. By showing him that the truth matters. That standing up for yourself matters. That love without respect is not love at all. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll ever fall in love again. I don't know if I'll ever trust someone the way I trusted Chidi. But I know this. I will never again lose myself in someone else. I will never again silence my voice to keep the peace. I will never again shrink to make someone else comfortable. I am enough. Exactly as I am. And so are you. Besties, this is the end of my story. But it's not the end of yours. Whatever you're facing, whatever you're fighting, whatever you're surviving, please don't give up. Please keep going. Please keep believing that better days are coming, because they are. And if no one has told you today, let me tell you, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for waking up. I'm proud of you for trying. I'm proud of you for surviving. You are doing better than you think. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this community. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please share this with someone who needs it. Please leave a comment and let me know you're out there. Because knowing I'm not alone, knowing you're not alone, that's what keeps us going. I'll see you in the next story, bestie. And remember, you are loved. You are seen. You are not alone. Until next time, keep fighting, keep healing, keep rising. This is Adaura, and this is my story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Your support helps this channel grow and helps more women find their voice. Drop a comment telling me your thoughts, your country, and if this story touched you. I read every single one. Thank you, besties. I love you all.